So I tracked all of our expenses down to the dollar that my wife and I spent over a 12-month period, and that was 2025. So today I want to do something a little bit uncomfortable, but it's really important. I'm breaking down all of our 2025 expenses, what we actually spent, what surprised us, and what we've learned since tracking everything properly. This isn't about being perfect with money, it's just about the awareness around it, because awareness is what actually leads to the change that we want to see in our financial lives. So I guess we're just going to do it. So let's zoom out first. In total, across all of our expenses, our total household spending in 2025 was a whopping $140,726.29. So I've broken it down into categories. I've got it written down on these scrap paper squares. So I'm gonna be reading off these in the video, but the different categories that I'll break all that money down into is housing, transport, food, lifestyle, and also subscriptions, travel, investing. So I've included all of the money that we've put towards investments as well, and also miscellaneous spending, so all that boring stuff that is actually necessary but people just seem to forget about. My biggest takeaway right away before we broke it down into all the categories is money disappears a lot faster when you're not intentional with looking at where the money is going and tracking exactly what you're spending your money on. It just seems to go, and even my wife and I, who we try to be very, very conscientious spenders, we spent a crazy amount in 2025, but nevertheless, let's move into our first category, housing. Housing is the first category because for most people, including us, this is usually the biggest category. In 2025, we spent $32,323 on housing. So for housing, that includes our rates. Our rates, we spent $2,227. That was split up into two biannual payments. So one comes in the middle of the year and one comes at the end of the year. We spent $996 on house insurance to insure both the house itself in case it burnt down and also all of the contents within it. We spent approximately $300 on repairs. That money was all spent on stuff like cleaning, having to fill in any little holes or chips in the walls. I also included into this the money I spend on fuel for the lawnmower to keep the lawn mowed, and also any poisons I use on the grass to keep the weeds under control so it looks good from the street. We spent very, very close to $300 on that. And then finally, the big figure was $28,600 on our mortgage, and that is all mandatory payments. So I didn't include any extra payments in that figure. So your housing alone made up roughly 23% of our total spending. And honestly, I'm okay with that because this is at the cost of stability and peace of mind for us. And honestly, my wife and I are just super, super thankful and blessed that we have a nice sturdy house to come home to every single day that keeps the rain off our heads. So moving on to transport, in 2025, we spent a total of $8,684.82. So that was all on transport, broken down into its subcategories. At the start of the year, we spent $2,550 on car payments, and that was paying off our last car. So we have two fully paid off cars now. Our last payment for that came out in April. It's been a very long time since we've had to contribute money towards a car payment, which has been very, very nice. Approximately over the course of the year, we spent $1,985 on fuel, and that's split up onto our two cars. We have a Hyundai i30, which is all petrol, and we also have a Toyota RAV4, which is a hybrid car, and that definitely saves us a decent amount on fuel, which has been very nice. And to insure both of those cars, we spent $897.43 on the i30, and we spent $1,166.39 on the RAV. So that's both of our insurance paid for. On top of that, we had to also spend money on registration for both cars. So to register both of these cars with the Queensland government, we spent $710 on the i30, and we spent $725 on the RAV. And then again, maintenance. So we get both cars serviced once a year to make sure that they're running well and to catch any little health problems that we could possibly catch early. Therefore, it will save us lots of money in the future. So the i30 service cost us $336, and the RAV service, which is cap priced still at the moment, costed us $260. Just right at the end of the year, I think I might have run over a nail or something like that. So I got a flat tire on the RAV. I got that patched up at our local tire place, and that cost me $55 as well. This one was a category that kind of surprised me, but also more so annoyed me. I didn't think that it was gonna be that complex. I was just thinking about two cars that we were spending money on. I just didn't have in the forefront of my mind that there was fuel that we're paying for, on top of that insurance that we're paying for, on top of that rego, on top of that maintenance. It just really shows how maintaining a car really adds up, and it's expensive to own these cars. Again, I'm not complaining. It's a luxury that we're both very blessed to have cars that we can use to go to work. It just annoyed me how much there was to add up. Pretty much all I want to say about that. Moving on to to food. So this is groceries and eating out. Food is always an interesting one. In 2025, we spent $22,995.40 on food, and that's broken down into groceries, which was the main bill, and that was $17,649.40. And then on top of that as well, in an effort to both eat healthier and hopefully save money on our meat prices, we ordered a quarter cow. So we have a multitude of different cuts of this cow, and it's all frozen in our deep freezer, and that cost us $935. And we also got a whole lamb, so we've got also different cuts of lamb also frozen in the deep freezer. The freezer is chock-a-block full at the moment, and that cost us $335 as well. We didn't get to eat all of that meat in 2025. We've still got heaps and heaps left in the freezer at the moment. So I'm hoping that will help us cut down on our grocery bill for 2026, because we won't have to buy any red meats, any cow or lamb for a very, very long time. Really, the only meat we'd spend money on is on chicken and fish. So it's nice to have a little stockpile waiting for us in the freezer. And then eating out. So this includes all of our date nights, going out for coffee, and little snacks here and there. We spent $4,056 on eating out. And I'm not really worried about that. We don't really go out a lot. Just when we do go out, we tend to spend a decent amount because we like to eat fancy food. So I'm not really worried about that at all. And I'm also not really worried about the grocery bill. The quality of food that Sophie and I get is something that we really, really care about. We care about taking care of our bodies and putting high quality things in. So when it comes to looking at our grocery bill and also our eating out bill, I know that we're not going crazy and buying stupid stuff. It's all stuff that has a purpose. Although this grocery bill is quite high, I am okay with it where it is at the moment. I'm just more surprised that it was that high because I've got nothing really to compare it to. But that's how much money we spent on food in 2025. Now going on to lifestyle and subscriptions. Lifestyle spending is where things definitely creeped up a little bit more than we probably would have liked. Across our subscriptions, hobbies, entertainment, random lifestyle purchases, we spent $3,476.68. Now, broken down into all the things we spent money on. First, our Netflix subscription. We spent $227.88 on that. It's continued to get more and more expensive every single month, and it's something that we've realized we've started to use less and less. So that'll probably be the first thing going. We spent $133 on a BritBox subscription because Sophie loves this show called what's it called? It's called The Midwife. She loves it. It's about nursing and birth and all this stuff in the 1950s or something like that. I don't know. She really, really loves it. And she thinks she's going to watch that show till she dies. So good luck trying to get her to stop that subscription. I also paid for a Crunchyroll subscription, which cost us $132 for the year because I am quite into anime as of late. Not so much in the last couple of years, but as of late, I think the recent anime that came out, Solo Leveling, really, really got me back into anime. So I've paid for a yearly subscription because it's cheaper than paying for it month to month. So I'll definitely be using that. Now we spent $1,684.80 on our Fitness Passport subscription. That sounds like a lot of money, but we've run the numbers, and for what it gets us, which is unlimited entry to multiple gyms in our area, it's very, very worth it for its money. When you split it down to how much money it costs Sophie and I each, it's cheaper than most gym subscriptions you can get. And considering we get multiple gym subscriptions, I get access to basketball courts and we get access to swimming pools. It is very, very worth it. It just sounds like a lot of money compared to the rest of our subscriptions. It's something that will be sticking around for the foreseeable future. Now, other little hobbies that adds to our lifestyle budget. I spent $849 on basketball. I play basketball with a team of guys. We get together on Monday nights and we play in the local comp. So that $849 is comprised of registration fees for the year and then game fees as well. It is quite expensive compared to a lot of basketball comps that you can get into. Like, I've done a comparison between some Brisbane comps, but it's quite expensive for this specific one that we have. But it's really the only one we have in our city. So we're not really spoiled for choice. If we want to play basketball in a competitive setting, then we're kind of forced to pay this. So although it's quite expensive, I think it's going to be sticking around until I stop enjoying basketball, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. And then on top of gym subscriptions, Sophie also pays to do Pilates once a week to once a fortnight-ish. But I calculated over 2025, we spent about $450 on Pilates. I also went to a class here and there, not very often. I don't go very often. We spent about $450 on that. So some of this money was absolutely spent on things that were worth it. Some of them not so much, but this category alone is a good reminder to audit your money regularly, not just once a year, because by the end of the year, all of that money's already gone. So definitely keep on top of your subscriptions. In 2025, we spent about $22,300 on travel. This was one category that we don't regret at all. We plan for travel and we save for it intentionally, and it fits into our version of a fulfilling full life. So when it comes to travel and paying for experiences, Sophie and I see it as a very, very worth it thing to do. Money is a tool, and this is one of the ways we choose to use it. So broken down, our biggest expense was at the start of the year. We spent just shy of $19,000 traveling to Japan. We were in Japan for 2.5 weeks, and then we went also to South Korea for about 4 days, I believe. But that came to just shy of 19 grand. We took a trip to Brisbane soon after that and took our dog. That cost us about $900. We went to the coast. That cost another $750. We went down to New South Wales to go to a funeral for one of Sophie's family members. That didn't cost us a lot because we stayed with family. That cost us about $300. We also went on a cruise. A lot of that was subsidized by Sophie's dad as his Christmas present to us. This cruise happened quite late in the year, but we also spent money on the ship. So that cost us about $250. And then we also went on a trip to a container house, like a little nature retreat, which was also at the sunny coast. And that totaled about $1,100. That's how we spent all of that money on travel in the year of 2025. Now let's talk about our future focused stuff, investing. We put $12,500 into the stock market via our chosen ETFs. We put $400 into crypto, and I've lost just about half of it. We put $14,000 into our offset, and this is extra payments on top of our mandatory mortgage repayments, as I talked about earlier. So $14,400 extra into our offset. And then we also put $19,640 into our superannuation, and that was all pre-tax money. So it came out of our paycheck before it even hit our banks. Specifically to the superannuation portion of that, we're looking to increase that figure this year. When you split it up, it's under 10 grand that we're contributing each towards our super, when the maximum that we could be contributing to our super is 30 grand. We're not looking to hit that maximum contribution, but we are looking to increase the amount of money and take advantage of that pre-tax investing benefit, and therefore maximize the amount that we have in there to compound while we're young. Especially getting extra money into there before Sophie goes on maternity leave would be very, very nice. None of this money really felt exciting giving it away in the moment, but future us will be very, very grateful that we did. Consistency and time in the market matters far more than timing. Getting that money in now and not having to do it later, I'm confident is going to pay off well. And that moves us onto our final category, which is all of our silent expenses or our miscellaneous expenditure. These are expenses that don't really get talked about enough, but in 2025, we spent about $2,130 on things like health insurance, medical costs, different events that we wanted to go to, little one-off emergencies. And the majority of this money was spent on gifts for other people for birthdays, Christmas. A few of our friends had babies throughout the year, so we cooked for them and we gave them a few little tidbits to celebrate that. And this is why some people feel a little bit disorientated and don't really know where their money goes. A lot of these expenses are missed. I'm honestly not sure if I got everything as well. I'm sure I missed 1 or 2 expenses in there, but it's definitely easy to miss. And it's probably why some people feel a little bit disorientated and misguided when they feel like they don't know where their money goes, even though they are on good incomes. It's not always just one big mistake that ruins you. It can also be 1,000 small ones. So something to keep in mind, spending money for 2026. So if I had to pick one thing that surprised me the most in 2025, it would probably be the amount that we spent on food. We do really value making sure what we're putting into our bodies is of high quality. So I don't see us going to great lengths to reduce this number. Also, Aussies know that grocery prices have exploded and they continue to stay high. That has probably most definitely contributed as well. I guess I also don't really know what a normal number would be. So if someone could tell me down below what their annual grocery bill looks like, so I would have something to compare it to, that would be swell. Because is 22 grand like a normal number, or are we doing something wrong? But looking ahead to the rest of 2026, what we are looking to change is we want to reduce our subscriptions, and we are doing that already by getting rid of our Netflix subscription for the year. We don't really use it that much. We maybe sit down once a week to use it. And for us, that's not really worth paying a subscription for. So we're gonna get rid of it. Like I said before, we are happy to keep spending high on quality food because we care about the food that we're eating. And also we are happy to keep spending money on travel because we want to have those experiences. It's something that we plan and budget for. And where we want to be more intentional is with our investing, especially putting more money into our mortgage and into our superannuation, and looking how to maximize our pre-tax contributions towards that is something that we're going to be looking at in 2026. It's about making sure we're as aligned with our money values as we can be, and just tweaking little things to ensure that. Tracking our finances closely has changed the way that we think about money, not because it's made us stricter, but because it's made it clearer. Because when you know where your money actually goes, you stop reacting and you start planning out everything and making correct decisions. Now, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. If you want to see how we reset financially especially for 2026, budgets, goals, and tweaking our strategy. I'm gonna leave that video for you guys in the end screen. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I wish you the very best on your wealth building journey.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, you should click here. No, because YouTube thinks you'll like this video. You should click it. No, but seriously. Come on, why haven't you clicked it yet?